Happy Monday morning to all of you out there listening to the Bombers Beat podcast, and we are here to break down the weekend series between the Yankees and the Orioles, a series the Yankees won the final two games of to ultimately win 2-1, and to cap off a 7-game homestand. The Yankees go 3-4 in that stretch after dropping 3 of 4 to the Los Angeles Angels prior to Baltimore. But the last time we spoke, we were coming off a 7-3 victory on Thursday against Los Angeles, and we were going to see what the Yankees could do in the series opener against the Orioles on Friday, and it did not go as planned. The Yankees lose 5-3. Luke Weaver got tagged in the 8th inning of a tie game, and the Yankees ended up blowing a game that they had a long period of time. They had a 3-2 lead, and they ended up losing that game. Weaver got his second loss of the year. But the Yankees bounced back with a really, really strong weekend effort. They beat the Orioles 9-0 on Saturday as Clark Schmidt's run of great pitching continues. 7 no-hit innings, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. He lowered his ERA for the season down to 2.84, a whip of 1.06, and you take a look at his last few starts, and they've really, really been something. 3 straight shutout efforts for him, and has allowed 0 earned runs in 4 of his last 5 games. You want to date back to May 28th. 6 innings, no runs, 5 2/3, 3 runs, 6 innings, no runs, 7 2/3, no runs, 7 innings, no runs. So he is pitching out of his mind right now in this Yankees rotation that, funny enough, for me and for everybody, was the big question mark heading into the season once Garrett Cole went down with Tommy John surgery, has been remarkable. And even some names you didn't necessarily expect. Now, obviously, Clark Schmidt didn't start the year, but he was expected to be a key piece, but maybe not to the extent that he's having this much success so far. And then JT Brubaker made his first appearance of the season on Saturday, pitching the final 2 innings of that game, giving up the game's only hit. And then the Yankees bounced back on Sunday with a 4-2 comeback victory. They got down 2-0 early in this game as Will Warren had some issues with control on Sunday. This, by the way, I say morning. It was an 11:35 a.m. Eastern start time. But a weird start time. But it was a getaway game for both teams. Both teams having to travel after the game. But the Yankees got what they needed out of Will Warren, and they make a comeback effort with a dramatic, exciting, an exhilarating in way, 3-run 8th inning, in which just a little bit of everything happened. You have pinch hit opportunities for Paul Goldschmidt that comes in and scores from first on what's technically ruled a double. Jazz ends up getting to third, but runs around and barely gets in on a send to take the lead. You've got Jazz Chisholm coming in and sliding into home and getting called out, even though Gary Sanchez didn't have the ball, and blocked the plate, and then had to run back and touch home plate, and all these other things happened. But it was really an exciting game for him. Overall, he had two plays at the plate, collision with the catcher, Lodge lost both his shoes on one of them. I mean, it was an odd sequence of a game, but a strong game for Jazz Chisholm, who has been unbelievable since coming off the IL for the Yankees. But they win this game 4-2. They come back. They get another solid 9th inning save from Devin Williams. And oh, by the way, Fernando Cruz deserves major props. Tim Hill came in this game, walked 2 batters, and he kind of put the Yankees in a weird and precarious situation that Fernando Cruz was able to get them out of with 3 consecutive strikeouts. He ends up getting the win in this game. But overall, from the big takeaways from the weekend, although he went 0 for 4 on Sunday, Trent Grisham has looked a lot better in these last handful of games. 5 hits over his last 4 games, including a pair of home runs and a double. Jazz Chisholm, as I mentioned earlier, was the best player for the Yankees in this game. But I also want to give a shout out as well to Ben Rice. Goes 3 for 4 in this game. Has had a really strong weekend. 3 hits in this game today. He had a multi-hit game on Saturday, which included a home run and a triple, and really he's been heating up. He's sat a little bit more lately. Between off days and trying to get this lineup shuffled with Giancarlo Stanton back, he hasn't played quite as much in the last week, but he has looked really good over the weekend and was a key contributor in both victories. So the Yankees are putting themselves in a really solid position here as they head into this week. Now, it is a very interesting set of schedule. I wouldn't say it's a quirk because it does happen, but to be at home and then to go on the road for just a 3-game series and then immediately come back home and then immediately go back out on the road is interesting. I guess you would prefer it over a super long road trip, I guess. But it is, quite frankly, a little bit odd to see, you play 7 games at home and then you go 1 series on the road, 1 series at home, and then you have 7 consecutive games on the road after that. So really interesting, but it'll be the Cincinnati Reds who they go up against. A weird team, man. Weird team. They've got some talent, and they have, there are times where they look really, really good, and there are times where they look like a team that's still a couple years away. They are 2 games above 500 right now, so they're kind of hanging around the NL wild card race. It's when I say hanging around, like as of this conversation, they're still 3 games back of a wild card spot, but that's not, and they got a couple teams to jump in front of them, right now. They have the Padres and the Cardinals both in front of them, ahead of the final wild card spot right now, which is held by the Milwaukee Brewers going into this week. But this is going to be a really interesting series, and it's going to be interesting pitching matchups for them. The Yankees, after putting Ryan Yarbrough on the 15-day IL retroactive to June 20th, they called up Alan Winans, who has been excellent in the minors so far this season. He will come up, and he will start here on Monday against Nick Lodolo. On Tuesday, it is a real treat, because yes, Carlos Rodon will be on the mound for the Yankees, but making his MLB debut for Cincinnati is Chase Burns, one of the best pitching prospects in baseball, has absolutely filthy stuff, so maybe it won't be as fun for the Yankee hitters, but it is always fun to see guys like this get that opportunity, and we have seen so far this year a number of different pitchers come up and make immediate impacts for their team, especially those that were highly touted prospects. So he will get the start for the Reds on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, the Amazon Prime game, Max Fried will retake the mound against Brady Singer. So all 3 games will be 7:10 p.m. Eastern start time, so pretty regular start times after a kind of a weird weekend of games. But, the Yankees currently are putting themselves, they had a good day on Sunday, because not only did they win, the entire rest of the division lost. So that they've regained that 2.5 game lead over the Tampa Bay Rays in the AL East right now. Baltimore falls all the way down to 12 games back in last place. But in the middle, Toronto, 4 games back. Boston, 6 games back. And then if you just want to look at just the overall playoff picture, the Yankees right now are sitting in a spot where they are about 4 games clear of a playoff spot. So, is it 4 games clear? Excuse me, 6 games clear of a playoff spot in the American League. So obviously the struggles they've had in June are not ideal, and it has kind of brought the division back to them. Obviously the Rays have been the hottest team in baseball over the last month or so. Toronto's played some decent baseball, and Boston has as well. The Rafael Devers trade has kind of clouded that Boston had been playing some good baseball lately. At least enough to keep their playoff hopes alive, and the Yankees have been struggling. So that brought that bigger lead that they had right back into it. But again, 2.5 game as you enter here, the final week of June, 2.5 game lead on the division, 6 game lead on a playoff spot. So if the Yankees can get hot again, they can start to rebuild that lead. And that's what they're going to need to do this week. You've got the Reds, and then you come back home later this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. By the way, Thursday, finally an off day. Finally. It feels like it's been so long. But Friday, Saturday, Sunday against the Athletics. Obviously, that's a team that is... They're not good. They're not good. Let's just admit it. They're not good. This isn't that is a series that, like, you look at this stretch here, and if you're the Yankees, obviously I think 4-2 is the minimum in this stretch of this week. I really think 5-1 could do wonders. I really do, and I think it's very possible. But let's shoot for 4-2. Let's shoot for 2 more series wins, and we'll have it all broken down here in the Bombers Beat podcast. But these are 2 teams that you are better than. And it'll be nice to kind of get this with an off day in the middle before you head out a little bit on the road. You're going up to Toronto, and then you have the crosstown rivalry over 4th of July weekend with the New York Mets that will get a ton, and I mean a ton of attention. And then coming off of that, you got a 6-game homestand. So you're in New York, by the way. I want to make this point. From Friday the 4th all the way until after the All-Star break. So you're going to be at the Mets, home against the Mariners, home against the Cubs. So once you get through this little stretch where you're going at Cincy for 3 games, then you're back home against the Athletics for 3 games, and then you're in Toronto for 4 games, you're going to come back on July 4th for that series against the Mets, and you're not going to leave town again until you travel after the All-Star break to Atlanta and then to Toronto. So this is going to be a good stretch for the Yankees to really kind of get things back on track and to kind of enter the All-Star break on a high note and kind of say, okay, we survived the doldrums of June. We survived the June swoon, as they say, and we got ourselves back on track. So we will see how they do that. We will see how it starts here with this series against the Cincinnati Reds. And it starts tonight for Alan Winnen's first start of the year against Nick Lodolo in Cincinnati. So we'll see how things go, and we will have it all broken down all throughout this week here on the Bombers Beat podcast.